Welcome to ES Anime. Today, I'm going to explain a supernatural comedy anime called Rosario Vampire. Watch out and take care. 15-year-old Sukune Iono is set to be a fresh-eyed high school student, but his plans are severely derailed when he flunked that year's entrance exams. Fortunately for him, though, his father ran into a creepy priest who just happened to drop a totally unsuspicious pamphlet for a school called Yokai Academy. Yokai, meaning Japanese ghosts, spirits, and monsters. But maybe the founders just named yokai? Either way, Sukune and his parents aren't ones to judge a school by its name. He's not about to judge the very creepy and ominous bus driver driving him to Yokai Academy, either. Sukune tries to be optimistic about his situation and alights the bus. But right as he descended, he's greeted by an eerie atmosphere. He lost his phone signal, the dying trees are populated by red-eyed crows, and he finds himself trudging through a graveyard as he tries to make his way to the academy. Needless to say, Sukune's terrified, especially when he hears an ominous sound approaching him. But to the boy's relief, it's just a talking bat. While he's catching his breath, a biking girl suddenly crashes into him. Sukune swiftly recovers, and in doing so, he accidentally grabs the girl's thigh. Instead of getting mad, she just appears both embarrassed and winded as she mutters about not having enough blood. Here, Sukune is taken aback by how cute this pink-haired girl is, and soon, either because of the fall or classic anime logic, his nose starts bleeding. So, the girl hurriedly takes her handkerchief and offers it to him so he can clean up, but the girl suddenly backs up upon smelling Sukune's blood. She does her best to control herself, but the temptation of fresh blood is strong. She nonchalantly informs him that she's a vampire before proceeding to bite his neck and drink his blood. Sukune cries out but feels okay about what happened in a few seconds. There are worse fates than being bitten by a beautiful girl, after all. When the girl moves away from his neck, he finds out that she also goes to Yokai Academy and is a freshman like him. This revelation delights the girl. But that delight is short-lived as she asks Sukune if he likes vampires. Sukune can't tell if she's joking or not. So, he doesn't think twice and tells her he likes them. He adds that it's kind of unique to encounter someone calling herself a vampire. Despite the girl's claims and behavior, Sukune doesn't actually believe she's a vampire. He just thinks that she identifies as one, so he's quite blasé about the entire thing. This earns him a big hug from her, causing both of them to fall. Despite this, she's still all smiles as she asks him to be her friend. A gorgeous girl, asking to be his friend. Sukune can only nod, face turning into a tomato. She introduces herself as Mocha Akashiya, and with that, he excitedly braces himself for a school life that's as lovely as Mocha here. Maybe Yokai Academy will finally bring him the luck he deserves. In class, Sukune listens happily to his equally lovely teacher, Shizuka Nekonome, give the usual introductory spiel. He's so giddy that he almost doesn't pick up on her announcement that Yokai Academy is exclusively for monsters. Being a soft-bodied little human boy, he gets both overwhelmed and increasingly terrified by the rules his teacher discusses. First, monsters must always be in their human forms. The second rule is that monsters should keep their monster identity to themselves. Ms. Shizuka reminds them that they should learn how to disguise themselves so they, as monsters, can coexist with humans. Saizo Komiya, the huge bully-looking guy sitting beside Sukune, butts in. He announces to the class that if he spots a human being, he'll just eat them right away. This sends shivers down Sukune's spine. Ms. Shizuka chastises Saizo for saying that and adds that no human can enter Yokai Academy because it has a barrier keeping them out. Everyone in the school is a monster, even the employees. Besides, even if a human manages to sneak in, they will be killed. That alone puts terror in Sukune's heart. His fear reaches new heights, however, when Saizo claims that he's been smelling a human there in class the entire time. Luckily, the discussion ends when Mocha enters the class and introduces herself. All the students are immediately taken by how cute she is, but Mocha doesn't even give them a single glance. Instead, she comes running to Sukune's arms, happy that she and her friend are in the same class together. Sukune and Mocha spend the rest of the day glued to each other. This earns Sukune a lot of glares from the male students. That's not the only crisis he has to deal with, though, since our human protagonist just can't wrap his head around the concept of a school for monsters. Or the existence of monsters, for that matter. While he and Mocha continue to hang out, Saizo interrupts them. He seems irate because Mocha's been spending precious time with Sukune, so he uses brute force to throw him into the vending machine. With concern flooding Mocha's eyes, she hurriedly runs towards Sukune but gets interrupted by the arrogant bully, who invites her to go with him instead. Without even giving him a second glance, she turns the bully down and helps Sukune up so they can go to the rooftop instead. After the incident, Sukune contemplates the power Saizo demonstrated. His mood stays dispirited despite Mocha's attempts to talk with him. Eventually, she asks what kind of monster he is but quickly realizes that she can't ask him that because of the school's rules. Their conversation takes a turn when Sukune comments that she doesn't look like a vampire, so Mocha tells him to look at her chest. Naturally, he thinks that she's talking about her bountiful valleys, so his downcast mood shifts to an awkward energy as he asks if she really means it. Teenage boys and their hormones. Unfortunately for him, Mocha clarifies that she's asking him to look at the rosary she's wearing, which is resting on her chest. She explains that her rosary is actually sealing her vampire self and her powers. If the necklace is removed, she'll turn into a scary vampire. There's a catch, though. Mocha can't take it off herself. Despite all that he's learning about her, Sukune assures Mocha that even if she turns into a scary vampire, he's sure that she'll still be Mocha, his friend. Happiness overwhelms her, so she comes running to Sukune to express her gratitude. She embraces Sukune, professing that he's her first friend. She's also thankful that she can get fresh human blood because of him. All this time, Mocha's been drinking from blood bags, so they're neither warm nor fresh, characteristics that Sukune's blood has in spades. So basically, aside from being her friend, Sukune has also become her food source. With their proximity, Mocha gets tempted to suck Sukune's blood again. But before she can sink her teeth into his warm skin, Mocha's frightening vampire image invades Sukune's mind. Scared, he runs away from her. It finally dawns on Sukune how different everyone is. Every student in Yokai Academy is a monster. A monster. What is he? A weak human that can be killed any second, even doing here. He needs to leave, and he needs to leave quickly. While packing his things, Mocha sees him and convinces him to stay. She shares that, before Sukune, she didn't have a friend at all. The vampire has always felt alone and out of place, mostly because of humans, who have never been good to her. With Sukune, she feels like she belongs, and now that she's finally found someone who makes her feel that way, she won't allow him to leave her alone again. With a quiet voice, Sukune reveals his true nature, a human. He's part of the species that Mocha dislikes. Shocked, Mocha can't help but take a step back from him. Her reaction hurts Sukune, but his disappointment quickly changes into anger. He retaliates by asserting that he doesn't need a monster to be his friend, but he instantly regrets this upon seeing Mocha's pained reaction. Still, he can't undo his actions, so instead of apologizing, he runs away to leave school once and for all. Despite his harsh words, Mocha unwaveringly follows him, still wanting to persuade him to stay. But since a bully doesn't know when to stop, Saizo follows the two upon seeing them. He transforms to his true form, an orc, and chases Mocha. He rationalizes that since he's changing outside of the school's premises, he isn't breaking any rules. Sukune is looking for the bus stop when he hears someone crying out in pain. He looks and sees that Saizo is bothering Mocha again. Even though he's no match to Saizo, Sukune still goes back to save Mocha. There, he finds her lying down on the ground after a brutal attack from the orc. With an angry, trembling voice, he demands Saizo to stay away from his friend, prompting him to attack Sukune. With the boy rolling on a cliff, Saizo mocks him for his weakness. Worried for her friend, Mocha runs over to check on him, which only makes Saizo even angrier. Why does she care for that pathetic creature so much? He wonders, before snapping at Mocha that they're not done yet, but she doesn't answer him. The vampire apologizes to Sukune, promising him that it doesn't matter if it's a human or a monster. She just wants a friend, and that's what he is to her. Hearing this, Sukune gathers the strength to stand up and assures Mocha that even though he's a weak human, he still wants to be her friend because he likes her. Unfortunately, Saizo breaks the heartwarming moment by knocking Sukune down again. This leaves him with almost no energy at all. Still, Sukune finds the little life in him to touch her shoulder and tell Mocha that he still likes her even though she's a vampire. On its way down, his weak arm accidentally tears off Mocha's rosary. As the rosary unlatches, the once bright blue sky turns into a terrifying red. With it comes a fearsome creature. It's Mocha's real monster identity. a cold, cruel, and powerful vampire with silver hair and red eyes. Her sheer presence makes Saizo tremble. With almost no effort, she kicks the monster into an embarrassing defeat. Sukune can't believe it was Mocha he was seeing. He tries to stand up and walk closer to her, but his vision blurs. Mocha catches him in her arms as he passes out. When he wakes up, Mocha is back to Sweet, her pink-haired self. Her self that's unlike the sinister vampire he saw earlier. She asks him if he's okay. In his daze, Sukune thinks he must have dreamt of everything that happened. But he's sure that there's a bus schedule near the bus stop, so he checks it. To his horror, it turns out that the bus only goes to Yokai Academy once a month. With this, he accepts his fate to stay in the monster school for a month. Meanwhile, Mocha continues to tend to his wound. But while she's wiping his blood, the smell tempts her. The next thing he knows, Mocha's slurping on his hot, juicy neck again. Sukune starts his morning preparing for another school day. But in Yokai Academy, nothing is normal because monsters of all kinds greet him the minute he walks out of his room. Good thing he has some practice in tolerating them. He meets Mocha on the way to school. The silly vampire girl tells him she slept late and didn't have breakfast, so can she pretty please drink his blood? Even though he's disoriented, he lets the blood-sucking happen. Afterwards, the human tells Mocha that he's not her food and runs away from her. Sukune's head is in the clouds thinking about the vampire and her love for his blood. A loud sound takes him out of his thoughts. When he looks around, he finds himself in an unfamiliar part of the school. He then spies a girl on the ground as if she has collapsed. Upon seeing him, the girl asks for his help. Sukune tells the girl that he'll accompany her to the nurse's office. But while he's marveling at her beauty, he doesn't catch her sly little smile. After accompanying the girl, Sukune finds out they are in the same class because the girl already knows him. She slowly falls into his arms, causing her generously sized chest to boing against his. But that's probably not the only thing that's boinging. It happens so many times that Sukune can't stop the sensation from dazzling him, to say the least. So, when the girl asks him to look into her eyes, Sukune willingly does it. The girl introduces herself as Kurumu Kurono and declares that they will be very good friends. She hypnotizes Sukune into becoming her friend. What she did to the shy teenage boy loosens his inhibitions. He takes Kurumu into his arms eagerly. Mocha sees them and calls out for Sukune to wait for her. But the boy doesn't want to and tells Mocha so, adding that it's because she keeps on using him as a substitute for breakfast. Mortified and hurt, Mocha can only stare as both Sukune and Kurumu walk together to class. What she doesn't know is that Sukune is not doing anything of his own accord. After the class ends, Kurumu approaches Mocha in the hallway. She declares war against Mocha, since the vampire girl is serving as a hindrance to her plans. The she-devil wants to make all the boys in high school her love servants, but her plans to make them all fall in love with her came crashing down when Mocha showed up. Their attention turned to her, instead of being at Kurumu's beck and call. Since then, she's had this delusion that Mocha's stolen every boy from her, so she wants to get her revenge. Naturally, this vengeance comes in the form of taking Sukune away from Mocha and making him her servant. At this point, most of the students are now watching them argue, but Sukune didn't even notice the commotion. He heads toward Mocha, intending to apologize for what he said earlier. But before he can do so, Kurumu interrupts him. She uses her powers to control him again. So, instead of apologizing, Sukune dismisses Mocha when she tells him to get away from Kurumu. Kurumu watches and wonders why Mocha befriended Sukune. She deduces that maybe it's because he smells almost human. Maybe that's why she keeps him around, to drink his blood and be her emergency food supply. Although Sukune is aware he's been saying things he doesn't mean, he still can't stop himself because of Kurumu's control over him. This has him asserting that he's not a friend, but a meal to her. Mocha vehemently denies his accusation to no avail. He and Kurumu are already going to the nurse's office, leaving Mocha to cry in hurt and frustration. In the nurse's office, Kurumu celebrates her victory over Mocha. While the she-devil is rejoicing, a very disturbed Sukune dwells on the horrible things he said. He stands up and tells Kurumu that he needs to apologize to Mocha. But Kurumu distracts him from getting anywhere. While this is happening, the instance makes Mocha doubt herself and her intentions towards Sukune. But a cold voice from her rosary sternly tells her to stop her pity party. The voice informs her that Sukune has fallen to Kurumu's succubus magic called charm. Scared, Mocha questions why there's a voice coming off from her rosary. The mysterious voice ignores her panic and continues that if a succubus successfully kisses a prey, he will become her prisoner forever. Then she will suck the life out of him until he dies. It adds that if she really wants to save Sukune, then she should hurry up. Back at the nurse's office, Kurumu is attempting to kiss Sukune. He struggles against her advances as he doesn't reciprocate the succubus feelings. The naive boy still thinks Kurumu is after his affection, so he keeps resisting her and announces that he must go to Mocha. Because of Sukune's constant deflection, Kurumu gets tired of her cute facade and reveals her monster identity to force the human. Before the succubus can do anything, Mocha arrives and pushes her out of the window. But while she's getting Sukune up to speed on Kurumu's powers, the succubus files back in and captures Sukune using her tail. Mocha jumps and joins them. Since Kurumu can't carry two bodies while flying, they crash land somewhere in the forest. Kurumu vows to kill them both since Mocha ruined her plans and Sukune won't succumb to her charm. She uses her knife-like nails to attack the two. Thankfully, Mocha saves herself and Sukune. She pleads for Sukune to remove her rosary for them to survive. He does so, but it won't budge. With their saving grace not working, they're well and truly in the claws of the deadly succubus. Thinking that this is their end, Mocha begs Kurumu to spare Sukune's life as he is her only friend. Kurumu laughs hysterically at her willingness to sacrifice her life over some weakling like Sukune. Upon hearing this, the said weakling puts himself in front of Mocha to protect her as well. And using sheer force, he finally manages to tear the rosary from Mocha's neck. Mocha's inner vampire awakens. Just like before, she radiates power and strikes terror into her opponent's heart, or whatever the monster equivalent of a heart is. Still, Kurumu tries her best to be brave to fulfill her destiny as a succubus and look for her destined partner to continue her species. Mocha's inner vampire can't care less about Kurumu's blabbering. With one kick and another nice Ponsu shot, she easily defeats her. The merciless vampire prepares to break off Kurumu's wings, but Sukune saves the succubus. He tries to convince Mocha that the girl is not all bad now that she has already learned her lesson. The vampire shares with Sukune that she doesn't get sentimental and only wants him for his blood, unlike her emotional outer form. She then reattaches the rosary and turns back to the pink-haired Mocha. The next day, Mocha shares that the rosary has spoken to her, which may mean that the seal on her inner vampire is getting weaker. Sukune tries to appease Mocha's worries by saying that he treats both Mochas as friends. He also shares that he doesn't care if they want his blood, making Mocha ecstatic. He also apologizes for the things he said while under Kurumu's trance. She just waves off the apology, and they stare at each other lovingly. But Kurumu interrupts their romantic staring contest with freshly baked cookies and a lovely announcement. She has chosen Sukune as her match, the one who will help her continue her succubus bloodline. So not only is he food for Mocha now, but he's also a potential breeding livestock for Kurumu. Now who said Sukune isn't talented? Thanks for watching this recap. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to S Anime if you haven't already. See you on the next one. Bye.